Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Walaikum.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. First of all, I would like to welcome and thank all of you for joining our very first virtual Tarbiyyat session. As we have limited time availability today, so I will quickly explain the agenda and the participant of this presentation today. After Tilawat and Nazam, inshallah, we will have Secretary Sanat Tijarat, Asif Ashraf Sab, who will have a small presentation for us, and soon after that we will have Dr Azhar Sab, who is representing Dr Ashraf Sab's National Secretary Rishta Nata, with another presentation, and inshallah soon after that we will have our guest speaker Nisar Orchid Sab. So Jazakallah to all of you, especially Orchid Sab, for making the time out, and inshallah we will have a very informative session inshallah today. So can I please ask Zumrais to recite a portion of the Holy Quran along with translation, please. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون والذين هم لأماناتهم وعهدهم راعون والذين هم على صلواتهم يحافظون أولئك هم الوارثون الذين يرثون الفردوس هم فيها خالدون. I just recited the first 12 verses of Surah Al-Mu'minun of the Holy Quran. English translation is as follows. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, ever merciful, the believers shall attain the goal. Those who are humble in their prayers, who shun all that is vain, who are prompt in paying the zakat, who safeguard their chastity. There shall be no blame on them in respect of their wives and those under their control. But whoever seeks anything beyond that is a transgressor, who are watching of their trusts and their covenants, and who are strict in the observance of their prayers. These are the true heirs, who will inherit paradise. They will abide therein. Urdu tarjuma is as follows. اللہ کے نام کے ساتھ جو بے انتہا رحم کرنے والا، بن مانگے دینے والا اور بار بار رحم کرنے والا ہے۔ یقیناً مومن کامیاب ہوگے وہ جو اپنی نماز میں عاجزی کرنے والے ہیں، اور وہ جو لغو سے اراض کرنے والے ہیں، اور وہ جو زکوٰۃ کا حق ادا کرنے والے ہیں، اور وہ جو اپنی شرم گاہوں کی حفاظت کرنے والے ہیں، مگر اپنی بیویوں سے نہیں یا ان سے بھی نہیں جن کے ان کے داہنے ہاتھ مالک ہوئے، پس یقیناً وہ ملامت نہیں کیے جائیں گے۔ پس جو اس سے ہٹ کر کچھ چاہے تو یہی لوگ ہیں جو حد سے تجاوز کرنے والے ہیں، اور وہ لوگ جو اپنی امانتوں اور اپنے عہد کی نگرانی کرنے والے ہیں، اور وہ لوگ جو اپنی نمازوں پر محافظ بنے رہتے ہیں، یہی ہیں وہ جو وارث بننے والے ہیں، یعنی وہ جو فردوس کے وارث ہوں گے، وہ اس میں ہمیشہ رہنے والے ہیں۔ جزاکم اللہ۔
Jazakallah Zumrais. Thank you very much. Can I now please ask Hamid Zafrullah Saab for the Nazam, please? Jazakallah.
السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ۔
Walaikum Assalam.
کلام حضرت مسیح موعود علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام۔ ہر طرح فکر کو دوڑا کے تھکایا ہم نے ہر طرف فکر کو دوڑا کے تھکایا ہم نے کوئی دین محمد سا نہ پایا ہم نے کوئی دین محمد سا نہ پایا ہم نے کوئی مذہب نہیں ایسا کہ نشان دکھلائے کوئی مذہب نہیں ایسا کہ نشان دکھلائے یہ ثمر باغ محمد سے ہی کھایا ہم نے یہ ثمر باغ محمد سے ہی کھایا ہم نے اسلام کو خود تجربہ کر کے دیکھا ہم نے اسلام کو خود تجربہ کر کے دیکھا نور ہے نور اٹھو دیکھو سنایا ہم نے نور ہے نور اٹھو دیکھو سنایا ہم نے آؤ لوگوں کے یہی نور خدا پاؤ گے آؤ لوگوں کے یہی نور خدا پاؤ گے لو تمہیں طور تسلی کا بتایا ہم نے لو تمہیں طور تسلی کا بتایا ہم نے مصطفیٰ پر تیرا بے حد ہو سلام الرحمت مصطفیٰ پر تیرا بے حد ہو سلام الرحمت اس سے یہ نور لیا بارے خدایا ہم نے اس سے یہ نور لیا بارے خدایا ہم نے ہر طرف فکر کو دوڑا کے تھکایا ہم نے کوئی دین محمد سا نہ پایا ہم نے
Jazakallah Hamid, thank you very much. Now can I please request Nisar Orchid Sab to take over the proceedings? Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Respected Sadr Sab and members of the Walsall Jamaat, just want to wish you a very warm Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, Jazakallah Wasim Sab for your for arranging today's Walsall Tarbiyyat session. Also for your timely start, very, very punctual, and also for your flawless start, in which your person who delivered the Tilawat and Nazm being there on time. These are things I do recognize. So well done, and Jazakallah for your timely and very, very smooth start to the program. Can I just ask how long do we have? Is that a straight 40-minute program, or do we have extended time?
Orchid Sab, I think it's booked for just over an hour. I mean, we have Isha Namaz here in Walsall 8:30, and the time is booked from 7 o'clock till, I would say, 8:10 max.
Right, okay, that's fine, that's fine. Just basically what I'm trying to say, just keep an eye on the time for me, okay?
Gee, I'll do that, no problem.
Okay. Also, before I actually invite the other presenters, I just want to make sure they are on board. I believe that Dr. Azhar is actually taking the place of Dr. Muhammad Ashraf, is that correct?
Gee, Orchid Sab, that is correct.
Secondly, is Asif Ashraf Sab from Sanat Tijarat department, is he present?
I'm sure he has logged in.
Okay, I just need some acknowledgement from him. Asif Ashraf Sab, are you present? If not, if he is, but maybe I'll go on to Dr. Azhar, okay? Maybe I'll start with him first. But Asif Ashraf Sab, if you are present, then I'm going to request you to come in after Dr. Azhar, please, okay? But before I invite Dr. Azhar Sab, I just want to first of all say that, you know, during lockdown period, which started, you could say, end of March, I believe, okay? What has happened is that everything else does not stop. Things still do carry on. It is more or less, from a Tarbiyyat point of view, business as usual. And one of those things is weddings, okay? Okay, I know we're coming to the end of summer now, but during the summer period, that's known as the shadi season. It's the wedding season. And also during this time, people look for rishtas as well and so forth. But again, as I said, you know, lockdown has disrupted a number of wedding plans, and they've even actually have to be put off or delayed. Or even weddings have still gone ahead, but there is you could say, a legal Jamaati loophole, because the thing is, in the UK, when we are to get nikah here, when we are to get the Islamic marriage done, we are actually told to do the civil registration first. But because that also came to an end as well, I know it's recently opened up again, but the thing is, if you can't have your civil registration, that means you can't have your nikah done here. But nevertheless, people are still having their nikahs done in Pakistan. Even though they live here, they're having representatives to stand in for them in Pakistan, have the nikah done in Pakistan, and they are rukhsid, they are departed, the boy and girl, they depart from their home here. There is no flashy wedding, no rukhsati, no walima. They go and get married. I will come back to that point later, but nevertheless, this business still does carry on. Weddings are attempting to be carried on in the best possible way, and also people still look for rishtas as well. And you know, I'm going to invite Dr. Azhar in order to present the short Rishta Nata presentation. But in the meantime, please, if anyone of you have any questions or points you would like to raise, or points of concern or hope regarding finding a Rishta for yourself, your daughter, your son, or whatever, or maybe your opinion on the Rishta Nata department, because I know they're making tremendous efforts these days, okay, yeah, in order to try to promote the image and service of the Rishta Nata department. So please have your questions ready, and I will also be peppering this session with Tarbiyyat tips as well, okay? So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Azhar, please, to give his presentation on Rishta Nata, please.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So respected National Tarbiyyat Secretary Sab, Nisar Orchid Sab, respected Murabbi Sab and local Sadr Sab, my dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So as Orchid Sab has said, I am standing in here, and that is the key phrase, I think, for Dr. Muhammad Ashraf Sab, as he unfortunately is on call today and is unable to attend, and so he has asked me to step in and just say a few words about the Rishta Nata department. So just so you are aware, first of all, the Rishta Nata department has undergone some evolution recently. We now have 5 national secretaries, of which Dr. Ashraf Sab is one. He covers the Midlands, Hertfordshire and Southwest area, and he has a number of regional facilitators on the male side, of which I am one, and he has a number of Lajna Maila facilitators as well. And then on a local level, there are the local Rishta Nata secretaries. And we all work together as a team. We are all learning to try and improve the profile of this department and ultimately to help our youngsters achieve Rishtas. So with that, I will drop into the presentation. I'll try and be as quick as possible. I appreciate that we are short of time. I'm just going to try and share this. I hope it works, inshallah. Okay, so I'll briefly run through this. So the key objectives are twofold for the Jamaat. One is to focus on addressing Tarbiyyat matters relating to Rishta Nata, and the other is to make it easier for all members of the UK Jamaat to interact with the department in every respect. Hazur has informed us that 80% of the work relating to Rishta Nata is Tarbiyyat. And so if we get Tarbiyyat right, then a lot of the issues relating to this department will be resolved. And so keeping those 2 key objectives in mind, we have 6 focus areas which we have developed around those, which are listed here. And just to save time, I won't read through them. I'll just go straight onto the table, which goes through each of these 6 areas in a little bit more detail. I'll run through those for your information, and then I'll hopefully just tie it up there. So the first thing is to introduce a variety of Tarbiyyat focus initiatives targeting different sections of the Jamaat. Now the idea here was to use social media platforms and to develop short audio pieces and short video pieces, working together with our local Khudam, with our local Murabbiyan in particular, and then distributing those or using them as a focus point for presentations. The idea also was to link in with Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya and Lajna Maila UK, because they, as you well know, have their own Tarbiyyat departments and Rishta Nata departments, to not only support their Rishta Nata department, but to offer them presentations, to offer them interactive sessions, and to involve ourselves in those to help support their work. On the Tarbiyyat side, we're also hoping to publish a few articles in Ahmadiyya Bulletin this year and each year thereafter, and provide the necessary guidance to parents and candidates. And this, we go back to again and again, the Tarbiyyat around why somebody would seek out a Rishta, why they feel it is the appropriate time in their life to move on to the next stage and look for a Rishta, and what their outlook should be regarding that. These are very important things which are Tarbiyyati related, and so this number 1 area is a very major focus point for us. And we will be uploading a lot of the information eventually to the new website. So number 2 is to provide easy access to all members of the Jamaat for the necessary details of potential candidates on the National Rishta Nata Register. So what we're doing here is to, number 1, make all Sadran and local Rishta Nata secretaries aware of the new website and train them in what it offers and how candidates can use it. And then they can therefore approach the local Jamaat members and their parents, give them this information and encourage them to try and register and use this facility. It's important to say that this is not compulsory by any stretch of the imagination. It is simply there as an additional facility to help members if they want to use the department. If they don't and they want to seek rishtas their own way, that is fine. And that has been a traditional way for many families. But alhamdulillah, this department has really moved on a lot over the last year or so. And certainly the website is very mature when it will come out. And I think people will find it very helpful. So moving on, some of that is really for our attention. Moving on to number 3, maintain and increase the number of candidates on the National Register. And here we are linking out to all auxiliary organisations of the Jamaat, not only Majlis Khudam al-Ahmadiyya and Lajna Maila, but also other allied auxiliary organisations such as the Pan-African Association, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Medical Association, of which I am a member, for example, and the IAAE, and other organisations. And it's to link in with them whenever they have forums, meetings, to just provide some information and get the word out to their members that we are here. And that we are here to help, and that we have a system which is now set up to try and engender confidence in them when they come forward to us. Number 4, to ensure local presidents and Rishta Nata secretaries are trained to provide efficient support at grassroots level. Now, as you all know, and as I can attest to, having been a Sadr for some time, that unless the grassroots work is effective, it doesn't matter how many regional and national events you have, it will not filter down to the local people. It is absolutely vital in this that our local Rishta Nata secretaries are all active, and we are here to provide them with the necessary support and training, some of which has already happened and will continue to happen, and also to local Sadrs who have also been informed about and kept in touch with about how this is progressing, so that they can offer the correct information to their local members and provide them with the support they need to register with this system, sorry. Number 5, increase awareness of the department's services. So it does say here to organise Rishta Nata surgeries. Clearly that's not possible in the current environment, and I think in some ways Zoom has been a blessing to all of us in enabling us to connect in various ways across the country in different departments, and this will be an excellent platform for us to use in the sort of near future. Just to increase the awareness of what our department can offer, and why people should come forward and register with this department. And obviously, finally, to manage the nikah administration, to keep a record of them, to make sure that Sadran and local secretaries have the appropriate necessary paperwork to fill, they have the appropriate registration forms, and have an understanding of how to use the website. So that covers the 6 main things that I think Dr. Saab wanted to cover. I'm sure he would have been able to do it in much better detail than myself, and I apologize for any shortcomings on my part, but this is the gist of what he wanted to say. And I would say to all members out there that I have seen the new website, and it is really is an excellent platform, and it has gone through rigorous testing at the highest level of the Jamaat, including National Amir Sab and National Majlis Amla members. They have really put it through the mill to ensure that not only it is forward-looking, that it is open, it takes into account the sort of things that youngsters want to put about themselves and find out about potential ristas, but also is in keeping with the traditions of our Jamaat. That's a careful balance and a difficult balance at sometimes, but I think it has achieved that. And eventually, when local Rishta Nata secretaries approach local youngsters and their families and get them registered on the system, they will then be able to go onto the system and look at potential ristas, they will then be appointed a facilitator in the region who will be able to help and guide them through that process and help them in achieving a local or national match and work them through the process. And I think it is a very excellent system, and I think inshallah it will work well. So with that, I will wrap up, and I would ask you to please pray that this is a very successful and blessed new scheme for us all. Please do consider using it in the future. Jazakallah. I would hand back to Nisar Orchid Sab.
Jazakallah, Dr. Sab. Just continuing on to what Dr. Sab has just mentioned, that, you know, despite having this new fantastic Rishta Nata website / computer system, nevertheless, you know, the practical aspect does still not go away. You know, the visitations, the meeting with the potential suitor, meeting of the families, that's still going to go ahead. But obviously, this first few steps allows us to look for potential suitors and matches in order to overcome any kind of hurdles that we tend to have in the past. Dr. Sab also mentioned that the work of Rishta Nata, 80% of it actually is Tarbiyyat, i.e. my department, okay? And I'm also heavily involved in marriages, and I actually see two sides of marriages, okay? That is the before marriage. You know, we do pre-marriage counselling, in which Dr. Azhar Sab is also one of the local pre-marriage counsellors. And because I'm also the chairman of the Islai committee, I see, unfortunately, the other side of marriage when things aren't going too well. I try to do the Islai, I try to do the reconciliation, and I do see both aspects, you know, of marriage. I will touch on that shortly, but again, you know, if you do have any questions, you have an opportunity now. I know some questions may be of a private nature, and you'd like to take your questions offline and directly communicate with Dr. Azhar, myself, or Asif Ashraf, who I'm going to introduce very, very shortly. So please feel free. This is your opportunity. We are departments within the Jamaat, within the Nizam, and we want to serve you, okay? We have come to you this time, so please ask questions whenever you will like. Okay, I also mentioned that marriages, shadis are still taking place, but on a very, very low key, a very, very low profile. Normally come the time of marriages, you know, even before the marriage, you know, you tend to have ronaks, you know, get-togethers, you have mendi parties and so forth, okay? All within the confines of Islamic traditions, okay? I should emphasize that. But these aren't really happening either. The large rukhsatana, the wedding, you know, that's not happening, and the walima is not happening. But marriages are still taking place, and that actually allows large savings to take place, okay? Normally marriages go into the hundreds and even thousands of pounds, okay? The hall hire, the food, and also extra other bits and pieces, okay? But there is a tremendous saving, okay? And we as Muslims, we are able to live simple lives, okay? As much as we can. And in today's climate, okay, you know, you may be out of work, you maybe have some loss of earnings, and you know, I believe that the situation is going to become worse before it becomes better. So all of these things you should keep in mind, and that's why, you know, these days I'm sharing a platform with the Sanat Tijarat department, the trade and industry, and we've invited Asif Ashraf Sab with us today, who's a representative of that department. And again, if you have any questions, concerns, ideas to share amongst others, any business ideas. If you've just graduated, you want to update your CV, you want to intro techniques, how to look for a job, how to use your own skills to generate a different source of income, and anything else related to earning more money or starting a business. Anyway, enough of me. I want to now invite Asif Ashraf Sab, and he will take over the next session, and that's related to Sanat Tijarat. Asif Sab, the stage is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thank you to Orchid Sab and to Sanat Sab to allow us to have the platform to speak to members of Walsall Jamaat. We don't normally are often able to travel up to Walsall to meet the Jamaat at a local level. So first off, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to some of your people. So I wanted just to start off with introducing Sanat Tijarat. We generally don't have a very high profile exposure as a department across the nation. So please allow me to go through, and I'm going to try and see if I can share my screen with yourself to show you some of our slides and what we get up to in the Sanat Tijarat team. So if you just tell me if you can hopefully see my screen. This is a sort of slide that we normally show to our refresher course, but yeah, normally we cover that side. So I thought I'd first of all just cover off what we're about and what we aim to do in Sanat Tijarat. Obviously, Sanat Tijarat means trade and industry. So our first and primary role is to encourage the idea of encouraging individuals to take up trade and industry as part of a way to have self-subsistence and self-reliance as part of that process. And we, along that way, provide guidance and support to our members throughout the process. And we do that. I'll cover the areas and how we go about doing that with yourselves. If we were to look at it and what our key aims are as a department, and it's worth just establishing what our focus is. Obviously, it's one of the key areas is about business, but it's also to start at the point where we help people to find and secure work. Also, once they're in work, it's also about career progression as well. So sometimes the first job is about getting your foot in the door, and the second job and the third job, so those are about developing your career further along the way. And in some cases, it's also about moving from one industry or one sector to another or one profession to another. So that's really about how we see ourselves about in terms of career development, which is also about the overall idea of getting into industry in some shape or form. We also provide a process of providing guidance and also training to members as well. And that's kind of a key focus to get people onto that path. And also a key part of it is obviously encouraging entrepreneurship, the idea of starting up your own business and creating an environment for that to happen as well. And there's also kind of initiatives that we have in place about other areas of self-subsistence. We have at the moment a polytunnel in Hadikul Mehdi, which we'll cover off in terms of what we're doing in that particular area as an initiative that we've done through Azure. I share with you some of our contact details and the type of people that we have in our team at the senior level. So Ahmed Salam Sab, who heads up the team for Sanat Tijarat. His background is in investment banking. He actually has his own bank at the moment. Also Ahmed in HR, so we've got some HR experience there. We also have Nayab Sayed, who's an entrepreneur and a range of different entrepreneurial skills. And then myself, my background is digital marketing. So I help a lot of businesses in the area of getting the business progressing within the digital marketing sphere. And Noor Chowdhury, who supports us a lot in terms of the financial side of things. His background's an accountant and he has his own accountancy business as well. So we have a breadth of experience there at the senior national team level, but it's not just these people that we tap into. And I'll share this list of people. If you ever needed to contact any of us for any advice, then I will share this within the comments and via Sanat Sab as well. If you would like to circulate it, we'll be happy to sort of respond to any needs. In terms of the national role, some of the areas that we focus on and we ask people to encourage on is the communication of some of our initiatives as well. We specifically also help people specifically with CVs, your curriculum vitae, resumes, etc. And we know that that's one of the stumbling blocks for people to get onto a job. And there's a few things we can do on that to help improve the chance of getting the first job or the interviews, etc. We provide the career advice and guidance. So if people are not sure about what they want to do, we help support them, mentor them in some respects to get onto the right path, and areas that they feel they can focus their attention on. Our strength is actually the way we do things is actually a process of networking. So what it is essentially is that we always look at other people in our Jamaat who have skills that they could help support others on. For example, if somebody is looking to start up a business in an environmental area, for example, we in our team obviously don't have those particular skills or that particular knowledge. We will seek that knowledge within the Jamaat through our contacts and find people that will be suited to provide some level of guidance and support to whoever wants that sort of support. So our ability to reach out and find people that can help and support is one of our key strengths in the Jamaat. So, and Jamaat members, as you know, as yourself probably, are more than happy to help each other out. And it only means giving advice and support in those particular areas. And that really does help people progress into the areas, be it through jobs or business as well. That's one of our key strengths. Business advice is something which we offer. Obviously, we mentioned how much experience we do have as a group already, and we have also other people in different businesses that can support with advice. And advice is a very important area. It helps guide people to not make mistakes along the way of their journey as well. We are also very important, focus has been recently, obviously, because of the issues related to COVID. Our focus has been a little bit more on around the area of skills and training as well. So we'll cover some of the things that we were doing in that area. Some of those information, I hope, has been able to reach you, and also as well, and some of the initiatives we've had been amazingly successful over this particular period. We talked about business startup advice. We show you how we'll do some areas that we focus on that. And we also support on any kind of questions that we support on in terms of any needs that we have at a local level. We also look very strongly about our local secretaries being in contact with people and understanding what their needs are as well. So this is some of the areas that we look to work with our local secretaries on. But I think some of the areas that we have been doing in locally in the London area, which we used to set up, was a drop-in, one-to-one, face-to-face support in Badr. Obviously, this has been something we can't do, but we try and do that now as a call. So if anybody does want to contact us, then we can support them around that sort of time frame to give them a one-to-one session over a Zoom type format as well, rather than a face-to-face meeting. Face-to-face matters a lot, actually, because what we find is that people, when they're talking about their career or their financial kind of challenges and their career progression, there's obviously a sensitivity around that, and it's a needs to actually help understand people's particular challenges that they have as well. So one-to-one, face-to-face is really quite a useful approach that we feel is valuable, but unfortunately, in this circumstance, we have to revert to Zoom type kind of conversations and face-to-face kind of conversations. We recently launched a course which was started off just before COVID started to hit, but it actually went through the process of COVID and so forth. So this was a digital training course which was run by one of our Jamaat contacts in an organization called ServiceNow. ServiceNow is a very large organization in terms of providing services to large corporate and businesses in the UK and abroad. They have a massive skills shortage. So they set about creating a fund to sort of create skills for young people to get up to speed on digital skills, essentially. This was oversubscribed by over 1,000 people registered for this particular course and have been through this process. I can't give you exact figures on how many completed it, but it's been a 4 to 6 week course that was set in place to enable people. We originally had it for young 16 to 23-year-olds, but it's actually been expanded to almost anybody of any age to get particularly skilled up on the area of ServiceNow products. And that would lead them to potentially a very good job opportunity going forward from that, because ServiceNow products are actually in quite high demand. So that's been a successful campaign. We will look to see whether we can get funding to do another version of that, and hopefully be able to relay that out to you again. If there are people looking for digital skills courses and want to get into that area, then this is a good course, or a change in career opportunity. This would have been perfect. We recently done electrical training course to try and get people up to speed and on the first ladder or step into doing a proper qualification in electrical engineering or electrical courses, to become an electrician essentially. The course has already started. It's run over a Zoom type Go meetings kind of format online, and it's a 8 to 14 week course. We're funding that internally. It's free to anybody who wants to do it. It's already started, so unless you have members haven't already enrolled, there may well be another follow-up opportunity to do this as well. Again, it's open to all Lajna as well, are open to this. And the prospects afterwards are fairly good as well in terms of completing this and getting onto to actually sit an exam as well thereafter. So it's done fairly well, and it's a good opportunity to get another skill in a relatively short space of time with no cost to the Jamaat members. Something else that we've been doing from a Jamaat point of view, have been doing quite successfully, has been doing business startup workshops, and this would have been a wonderful thing to have done in Walsall with your Jamaat members or locally in that area. It's actually a process of how to stimulate a new business idea from a group of people. It's a very fun activity, but again, we're limited to the fact that we can't do this on a virtual scenario. But inshallah, if people are looking for business ideas or want to stimulate that, then we can help support that and help them grow and guide them through a process of that. And we provide also a lot of support from members in our Jamaat that can make their process of trying to do all the things that you need for a business a lot more easier. So we get people who are financially savvy to help in terms of the business planning side of things. We help set a mentorship program to help people develop and evolve their ideas from start to finish. And we also look to get some further information from Jamaat members about their own status at the moment. So we will try and contact you about getting more information about where any members of your Jamaat are in the process of their status and what things they may need going forward. In terms of what we're looking to do going forward in the near future, from our point of view, is that we will be looking to do other courses online that we can provide free to our members. And essentially that process will also include such a course like a translation course. So for somebody who might want to become a translator, then that basically is an opportunity which we're looking at, to give somebody an online course to become a translator effectively, and be able to take that as a skill that they can actually get an income from as well. Other courses that we're looking at soon will be other digital marketing course and the technology course that can lead to an apprenticeship with another organization. So inshallah, we'll be looking at other courses that people can do if they're worried about their job situation as it stands. We understand a lot of people may well be concerned about that particular area. I think that's generally speaking an overall view of what we do within Sanat Tijarat. I'm obviously open to any kind of questions that you may have along the way. Please be free to ask those kind of questions to me directly, and I will try and share the contact details in the chat for anybody who's looking to speak to us directly on a one-to-one level.
Jazakallah, Asif Sab. Also, I've actually noticed that there is a very, very healthy attendance. There's about 54, 55 plus people connected to today's attendance. You multiply it by whatever, but mashallah, I have recognized that it's one of the healthiest attendances I've attended amongst all these virtual sessions I've been doing on a daily basis. So well done, Walsall. But from amongst the healthy attendance, surely there must be some questions for our guest speakers today. You know, for Asif Ashraf Sab, he has virtually travelled all the way from London, okay, to visit you today. So please, I mean, are you concerned with your work? Do you have skills that you think you can? This also applies to Lajna as well. You know, maybe Lajna, you're multilingual. You have a good command of English, Urdu, German. You can use those skills from home as well for translation purposes. You know, so please. Anything, because the situation, I believe, Asif Sab, is it correct that the situation is probably more likely to get worse before it gets better?
I think that's a very fair assessment. I don't think I would want to say otherwise. A furlough scheme will eventually end. Some jobs may not necessarily get fully replaced. Plus, we also have to factor in there's a issue of Brexit that also will have an impact on our economy. So if you consider all of those kind of factors, we can probably foresee a very difficult, challenging period ahead. However, within all of those things, there are still opportunities, and that's why we should seek the opportunities to find what those are and be ready for them as well.
Okay, fine. Again, you know, people are probably have loss of earnings, or they're dipping into their savings as well, and savings can only last up till a particular time. But so that's why one has to be careful, and also one has to prepare themselves. So again, the the Trade and Industry Department is here. They're here to serve you, to listen to you, and to also to answer any questions or points of concern you may have. Okay, now the time right now is 7:51. If you have any questions in general in relation to Tarbiyyat, then please feel free to ask. Now, I'm just going to continue with a few things. You know, many people probably describe the current situation that we're all going through as a difficult period, okay? And I'm not saying it's not, but what I am saying is that I think it's a different period as opposed to a difficult period. I honestly think it's a time of great opportunity, especially from a Tarbiyyat point of view as well. You know, what I feel is that it is actually bringing people closer together. It is actually bringing families closer together. What you may hear that there are more domestic issues, domicile, ajkal ho raha, you know, between husbands and wives and parents and children, because, you know, husbands who tend to spend anything between 10 to 14 hours outside working, the same amount of hours they're spending at home. You know, me and Bibi, they're seeing each other so often, so the chances of them having issues again between them greater. Children who tend to spend 6 hours at school, they're spending those same 8 hours at home. So basically, they're all getting in each other's way at home, and it's creating more tension. Some people do say that, but I actually say the opposite. I actually think it's actually bringing people closer together. You know, there are probably things that families you're doing probably for the first time during this lockdown that you've never done before. For example, you probably are saying namaz by Jamaat even more. Yeah, maybe your children are giving the darases. Maybe your sons are leading namaz by Jamaat at home. You know, it's a good thing. Maybe fathers are spending more quality time with their children, sitting down, doing their homework that they never had a chance before. And also there is Jummah as well, okay? A lot of us are reading Jummah at home. And I must say, myself, I actually never ever led a Jummah in my life up until now. I've lost count how many Jummahs I've read and at home with my family. And I also say that, you know, it's also been an educational period as well. You know, during Jummah, I must say, before the lockdown, my khutbah thaniya was not that strong, okay? But now it's much, much better because I say it myself so every Friday when I am the Imam in the house, when I lead Jummah. So again, it's a time of great education as well. And please do not let go of what you've actually gained once lockdown is, completely, we're freed from lockdown, but that time happens. But, just because we went through a we did go through, let's say, a severe lockdown period earlier on, and somewhat regulations have eased now, but nevertheless, lockdown does not mean everything else has stopped. From a Tarbiyyat point of view, it's business as usual. For example, let me give you a few examples. I've already mentioned about weddings, okay? Weddings have been disrupted, but people are still looking for a rishta. People are still trying to get married, and that is still going on, and it is still happening. And again, I have mentioned that there's been a lot of savings as well. Marriages are actually done on a low profile. Now, you see, that goes to show that we can still do these things if we live very economically and we go into a thrift kind of mode. Because, many people are saying we're going through a difficult period. But let me tell you what a difficult period is. Again, Rabbi Sab, you may have to correct me with one or two things here. But if we rewind back to 1934, okay, the Jamaat, that was one of its difficult times. It was under fierce opposition against the Majlis Harar group, okay, an opposition group towards Ahmadiyyat. Its leader, his name was, he said that he would remove the name of Ahmadiyyat from the face of the earth. Now, the second Khalifa, may Allah be pleased with him, rather than backing down, he rallied his troops. He inspired and he drove the Jamaat members forward with a real sense of purpose and resolve. And he actually tested the Jamaat members under difficult times. And during that time in 1934, he actually came up with 19 demands, expectation from the Jamaat members. And one of them was actually financial sacrifice during difficult times. He wanted to test the Jamaat members, and in 1934, that's when Tariq Jadid scheme started. And if you look now, in 2020, we are looking at 1 million plus targets. Think about it, at that time in 1934, against sheer opposition, we have come this far in which we are expecting 1 million plus these days. So Allah has actually protected and blessed us during difficult times by us keeping our faith, by us being tested. And also amongst those 19 demands, the second Khalifa also insisted that we Ahmadi Muslims should live simple lives. For example, he said that rather than having two dishes on your dinner table, you should just have the one. You should stop going to cinemas. Okay, people these days don't go to cinemas, but they probably subscribe to things like Netflix and so forth. They get new set boxes that have hundreds and thousands of channels. Why? Don't bother. You should save your money and not subscribe. Because we were told to do this in 1934, and what we were told then also applies today as well. We're told not to buy any extra clothing and any superfluous or do not spend extravagantly and so forth. So that was a difficult time back in 1934. And if you feel you're going through a difficult time now, then apply those 19 demands back in 1934 to today, 2020. And Allah blessed us at that time. He will continue to bless us, okay? But make sure your faith remains firm and constant at all times, okay? And secondly, again, I mentioned it earlier on as well, just touched on it. Another thing that's not going to stop because of lockdown is, issues, domestic issues between husbands and wives and parents and children and so forth. There are still levels of tension. And in order to reach out to support such families, it's not that easy to do it on a Zoom session. So we are still taking ourselves out, to people's homes and telling them to come to the mosque. At the same time, still applying social distancing and so forth. And, again, we really have to be there for them in their time of need, okay? And they do need people. And that's where the Jamaat supports its members. We are a community, just like how Sanat Tijarat have come. They're a service department. They want to help you in your business, looking for work, updating your CV. Rishta Nata department, they come to help you, to serve the community, to look for a Rishta for yourself, for your son, for your daughter. Okay, so again, the Department of Islah and Tarbiyyat, we are there trying to help people, okay, to mend their ways and to live in an environment of tranquility. And the third thing I just want to mention is, again, this thing I'm going to mention certainly will not stop just because of lockdown, and that is death. Okay, and again, another sad event in one's life, that is death. Okay, there can be no life if there's no death. Okay, and that's one of the inevitable things of life. Now, this is one of my other responsibilities. I tend to oversee the janazas, especially in the south region, and I assist anywhere else in the UK. And since lockdown, which again started end of March was it? And up till now, I've probably dealt with about 50 plus janazas. Yes, 50 plus janazas. And probably out of those 50, 35 plus have passed away due to coronavirus. Again, we can't do these things at home. We, the Tarbiyyat department, myself, we have to take ourselves out, to collect the body, try to prepare the body. We don't have a normal, proper ghusl because of the pandemic out there. We have to be careful ourselves. We have to wear the PPE, the personal protective equipment clothing. We're having low-profile janazah, just like how people are having low-profile weddings, people are also having low-profile janazas. Normally people would want to take the janazah to Islamabad for Hazur to read the janazah. People would want to get the nikah done in Islamabad, but Islamabad is in complete lockdown. But the janazas still take place. I've been reading many of the janazas, at the qabristan, at the cemetery, even at the funeral house. And again, alhamdulillah, we've acquired a new cemetery very, very near Islamabad, because the one that you may know, Brookwood Cemetery in Woking, that is 99% full up now. But alhamdulillah, we managed to find one just before lockdown, and it serves our community very, very well. So again, these are just kind of, let's say, three things that I do want to share with you. I want to share with you in terms of it's business as usual, okay? Nothing stops when it comes to Tarbiyyat. And please make sure in your own home, you are practicing, all these aspects of Tarbiyyat, applying it to not just yourself, but to your children as a family as a whole. Acha, Wasim Sab, I do want to mention one more thing, but because it's 8 o'clock now, I just wanted to pass control back to you to see if there's any announcements you want to make, or if there's any questions by the audience.
Sab, as you just mentioned, it's 8:05 and namaz time is 8:30. I would like members to send their questions to myself, Sadr Sab, or Murabbi Sab, and inshallah, I'm planning to arrange another session soon, depending on your availability. As some of the time was taken by other guest speakers today. So inshallah, that is what the plan is. So if that's okay with you, we will arrange another session soon, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do so, because the sad thing is that this is the first Zoom Walsall Tarbiyyat session we're having. My availability, my department's availability is always there. Okay, we can have these once a week if you want to. Okay, it's not a problem. You see how easy it is just to make a Zoom session. It just takes 2 minutes. Okay, you have a healthy attendance. Okay, so please let's do this regularly. But there is one more thing I want to mention before we end today's session, if you don't mind. Yeah. Okay. Look. Today's real Tarbiyyat tip, okay? We talked about marriages, okay? And I have that department. I'm in that department that tries to save marriages as well. And there are a number of reasons why marriages break down, okay? But I'm going to give you one reason for you to, but you can actually practically implement it immediately. You know, we keep hearing so much advice after advice, but really, you know, nasihat to ek cheez hai, lekin amal dusra cheez hai. You have to be practical. And let me introduce you to something. This, we all recognize what this is. Yes, it's a mobile phone, yeah? And we all have one. And I tell you now, okay, people are actually not married to their wives these days. They're not married to their husbands. They're married to their mobile phones, okay? And whenever I do a reconciliation session between husband and wife, guess what? This ye beech mein aate hai, acha? This comes in the middle, okay? Ye to musibat hai, acha? It is a functional thing. It's a good thing. But I tell you, I have renamed this. I've called this the marriage wrecker, the marriage breaker. Yeah, Wasim Saab is laughing. He probably says, yeah, you're right. You know, if I was to ask you all a question, okay, now, before you go to sleep, where do you put this? Where do you put this? You probably put it next to your bed, don't you? Charging, yeah? Why? You know, why? No, you take your wife to bed. You take your husband to bed. You don't take your mobile to bed, okay? Let me tell you one or two bedroom secrets in my house, okay? I ban this from my bedroom, okay? I keep it outside in the hallway in the mobile basket, yeah? If my wife was to walk in with her mobile phone, I send her straight back out, okay? She's not allowed in the bedroom, okay, until she leaves it out. And we also have to lead by example to our children. We are so concerned that our children have mobile phones, they're in the rooms. What are they seeing? What are they doing? Who are they communicating to, okay? Well, if we leave our mobile phones out in the hallway before we go to sleep, they will also follow our example, okay? So if you want to listen to some advice, you have to also do it well, okay? So I humbly ask you all, if you want to make a difference in the quality of your matrimonial life, your family life, do not take this into your bedroom. Please do not take this. And the other thing, husbands and wives, you know, if you have passwords on your mobile phone, yeah, well, don't create a sense of suspicion. Husbands, your wife should know what your password is, and wives, your husband should know what your password is, okay? But at the same time, husbands, don't sneakily look into your wife's mobile phone messages, and wives, don't sneakily look into your husband's mobile phone. That's not allowed either. Again, do not create a heightened level of suspicion, okay? So please, this is a useful thing, but ye ek khatarnak cheez bhi hai. It's a very, very dangerous thing. If you want to do something about it, let's start today. Do not take this into your bedroom, okay? That's my Tarbiyyat tip for you today. Okay, Wasim Sab, I'll hand control back to you now.
Jazakallah, thank you very much, Azhar Sab, for your time today. And inshallah, as I've just said, we will inshallah soon arrange another session exclusively with yourself. Can I please ask Sadr Saab, Hamid Tariq Saab, for the concluding remarks, please?
Assalamualaikum. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I know we are running out of the time now. So first of all, I would like to thank Nisar Orchid Sab, Amir Sab, Murabbi Sahib, Dr Azhar Siddique Sab, and Asif Ashraf Sab for sparing your valuable time for our Jamaat. I wish we had more time to run this session, but because of the we have namaz in just 20 minutes, so I don't know much to say because a lot has already been said. So I will just, as per the plan, I would like to hand over to Murabbi Saab for his final remarks. And last but not the least, I would like to thank you, Wasim Saab, who is our Secretary Tarbiyyat, for arranging this session with Nisar Saab and running a very successful attendance campaign. And that has made it, alhamdulillah, a successful workshop. Murabbi Saab, if you are online, please could you take over from this point? Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nisar Saab, Jazakumullah for your priceless advice, especially what you said at the end. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, whether they're married or not married. You know, phones are something which get in the way of people a lot, and I think we should maybe expand on that more in the next talk. And I'm sure many of the wives were agreeing with that. Something which a lot of us really need to work on, and we need to understand our priorities. Along with Tarbiyyat, there are many aspects that we can talk about, and it will take us all day. But as it is almost namaz time, we are always starting with Allah, and we should also finish with remembering Allah. So all members, remember the importance of the mosque and praying, and whether you're at home or coming to the mosque, we should always do it with the right intentions. So I just want to again extend my gratitude, Nisar Sab and Dr Azhar Sab and Ashraf Sab for delivering such immaculate speeches, and something which we can all relate to. Again, I wish we had more time, because I was really enjoying your talk, Nisar Sab. So thank you so much, and inshallah we'll be quick to organize the next session now. Over back to you, Wasim Sab.
Jazakallah Rabi Sab. Before we conclude, Orchid Sab, can you please lead us in silent prayers?
Sure.
Jazakallah.
My final words are: be safe and be happy. Okay, be safe and be happy. Please join me in a dua. Dua kar le. Ameen.
Ameen.
अच्छा, Jazakallah Sadr Sab, Ijazat, Rabbi Sab, Wasim Sab, Namir Sab, and everyone else. Khudafis, Assalamu alaikum. See you soon.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.